Hello everyone and welcome to our channel Startup Visa Works. Today we are diving into a very crucial topic, that is language requirement for permanent residency and work permits, specifically targeted towards startup visa. So if you are an entrepreneur or looking for an immigration journey, this information would be a key. So before we get started, don't forget to subscribe us or hit the notification bell. We would be consistently and constantly sharing information on startups in Canada, North America, and the complete Canadian startup visa program. So anything and everything to make your journey seamless. So today we will be covering the major 5 points: IRCC approved language test for Canadian PR, startup visa PR or work permit language requirement, best and easiest test with differences for the upcoming year. Fourth, minimum band requirement and success hacks. Fifth, tips and tricks for language tests. So please grab a pen and paper, take notes, and if you have any questions or personal experiences to share, drop them in the comments below. I love hearing from the community. So what are the tests accepted by IRCC for Canadian PR and work permit? And it can be under any program like Express Entry, Provincial Nomination Program, any kind of skill-based program, business programs, or today's hot topic, that is startup visa. So traditionally, IELTS and CELPIP were the choices people used to take, but now from 2024, we have PT, that is Pearson's Test of English, which has gained IRCC recognition. Though it's not listed still on the IRCC website, they are not taking the scores, but anytime today, tomorrow, or maybe the next month, your PT scores would be acceptable by IRCC. And yes, don't forget that Canada is a bilingual country. So your French factor, that is, you can also take test of TEF Canada, TCF Canada to score additional points. But beware, this is only helpful for express entry applicants, not for startup visa applicants, because startup visa does not work on CRS score. That means any additional points or point-based system doesn't work here. So we will again move back to our English and the preferences in English. Now, since we have three options, that is IELTS, CELPIP and PT, we'll talk about the differences in all these three examinations, and there now you can take a wise and informed decision about yourself, because there are slight and small differences in all these three tests, and which makes it easier or difficult for certain people. Be it a type of English, be it the way you work, like you prefer computer-based writing, you prefer writing on papers, and etc. 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 So let's talk in detail about all these three programs and let's weigh our preferences. And in the end, definitely I would give you my preferences also. So you can choose your. So what are the major differences in IELTS, CELPIP and PT? I would like to start with what they stand for. And first and foremost, it is IELTS and not IELTS. So IELTS, yes, International English Language Testing System, and CELPIP stands for Canadian English Language Proficiency Index Program. PT stands on their company's name, that is Pearson's Test of English. Now, what are the different tests under all these three banners like IELTS, CELPIP and PT? So we would like to start with the major differences or major two type of tests which are almost there in every kind of exam, that is GT and AT. So GT is general training and AT is academic test. So IELTS, AT, as the name suggests, academic, it is always meant for students or who are taking admissions in foreign universities, be it PT, AT or be it IELTS, AT. And IELTS GT or general training is specifically meant for residency and work permit. You give IELTS GT or you give PT GT or you give CELPIP GT, whatever it is. Okay. So now there are three tests in IELTS, that is IELTS GT, AT and IELTS online. GT, AT, we are clear. IELTS online is something where you can give from the comfort of your home or any other place where you don't need to go to the center. Talking about CELPIP. So CELPIP is an exam which came after IELTS. It's just 3 to 4 years old exam, and it is focused more on Canadian patterns. So that's the reason there is no AT in CELPIP. That means no student can give CELPIP exam. It is only meant for work permit and residency, and they have IELTS GT. And they also have IELTS LS. So what do LS means, or why this exam. LS is specifically conducted for citizenship, Canadian citizenship. So that's different from GT. Now PT again has PT-AT, GT, and PT Academic Online, like IELTS Online, which you can give from the comfort of your home or maybe any other place, but you don't need to go to the center. And the fourth exam in PT, which will be available forthcoming, is PT Core. Okay, so this is the exam which you have to actually give if taking a PT test or going to give PT scores for your permanent residency programs. So in short, if we talk about startup visa and which test to take for IELTS, it will be IELTS GT. For CELPIP, it would be CELPIP GT, and for PT, it will be PT Core. The different pattern and different modules of this 3 tests. First of all, let's try to highlight on understanding what type of English they have. So IELTS is, it's an internationally accepted exam. It works more on British and UK language. So if you are more comfortable towards that side, you should opt for IELTS. On the contrary, CELPIP is more towards Canadian language, day-to-day English of Canada, listening, talking, walking. I mean, anything about what you do inside Canada. So if you are in Canada from a year or more than that, probably CELPIP would be a better choice. PT again is accepted in many countries, so its focus is USA, UK, and a mix of Australia and New Zealand. So the English type is again towards UK and also towards Canada. So now it's your choice to take what English you would like to take it, or which English test you would prefer. Moving to another major thing which you need to understand, or the extra edge which IELTS has above CELPIP and PT, if you really look forward to in that way, is IELTS has 2 options. You can give the same test in paper, or you can give the test in computers. So when I say paper, if you are a person who loves to write on paper, pen, or with the help of pen and paper, you scribble a lot, the paper-based test would be good. But if you're a computer person working on keyboards and you can write well with keyboards, so probably IELTS computer-based or CELPIP or PT is the right choice. But CELPIP and PT doesn't give you an option to go for a paper-based test. It's completely and purely computer-based test. Now moving to modules. So all these 3 tests has in common 4 modules. The way you are judged for your English, that means reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So all this 3 tests has all these 4 modules, which is actually different in terms of number of time spent for this module and different. Like for example, IELTS is conducted in 2 days. Now this is another point which we need to consider while booking or selecting a test. So IELTS will have reading, listening, and writing in 1 day. And the speaking test would be on another day, maybe the consecutive day, or maybe 2 to 3 days earlier or 2 to 3 days later. So if you are moving to other city to give this exam, please consider or have this time ready with you, because you will not get the speaking dates when you book the exam. You have to book it for your return exam, and at the time, maybe a week earlier, you will get the dates of your speaking. So you have to consider this point. Now the other modules for CELPIP and PT is definitely at a stretch test, so you don't need 2 days to keep. So CELPIP is 3 hours, you go, you give listening, reading, writing, speaking, and it's done. For PT, it's 2 hours test, comparatively a smaller test with 20 questions, but again it is on stretch test, you don't need to keep another day. So it's done in a day. Now we need to understand how much time they have dedicated for different tests. So when we talk about IELTS has reading 60 minutes, writing 60 minutes, and listening is for 50 minutes. And your speaking test would be another day, which is generally 11 to 14 minutes, where it's more of an interaction with the examiner. Moving to CELPIP, since it's a computer test, everything from reading, writing, listening, speaking would be on computer, and reading is 55 to 60 minutes, writing is 53 to 60 minutes, listening is 47 to 55 minutes, and speaking again is 15 to 20 minutes, and you don't have any examiner. So again, another tip, if you are scared of humans, or if you're scared of giving exam, or if it gives you a jittery feeling of like an interview, so please don't go for IELTS, go for CELPIP or PT, because there you will have some recorded speaking sessions which you have to give, and no humans will judge you there. Moving to PT, the time bifurcation is, in PT, speaking and writing is considered to be a one test, which is 54 to 67 minutes, followed by reading 29 to 30 minutes, and listening is 30 to 43 minutes. So this is about the major differences in terms of module pattern and the ways the test is conducted. One more thing which we should know actually is how, like if I give my test today in January, for how long it is valid, so you can plan, when are you filing for your PR applications or work permit application. So all these three tests are valid for 2 years. That means if you are giving the test in January 24, it will be valid till 26 January. So there's no change in the validity. Going to the next step, that is the pricing. Yes, so here there are certain differences. IELTS would cost you tentatively around 340 CAD, maybe a bit up or bit down depending on the location. CELPIP is priced around 280 CAD, and PT is priced around 300 to 340 CAD, though the PT core prices has not been announced. So this is generalized for PT, AT and GT. So now if you want to save some 20-40 bucks, you can always think of choosing any of them which is pricing you less. Moving to exam results, yes, we need to see that also. If you're going for a paper-based exam, it is going to take you 13 days for the test results from the day you give the exam. But if you're going for an IELTS computer-based test, it is just for 3 to 5 days. That means 5th day you will have the computer-based result. Again, for CELPIP, the same, because it's a computer based, you will get the result in 3 to 4 days, and PT you get much faster, that is just in 2 days you get the results. So isn't it amazing? I mean, all the tests which are in English with the same modules but slightly different variations, and that's how it makes you choose it differently. Anyways, one more thing which we need to understand, and probably for which we are waiting, is what is the language requirement for startup visa, for IELTS, PT and CELPIP. So it's same, you just need CLB 5. Are you happy? Yes, you should be, because even I was. See, in Express Entry we struggle a lot to get CLB 9, that is 8777, listening 8 and then 77 in all scores, and you at times just score 0.5 less and then you have to redo it. But you don't need that much of efforts in this startup visa category. You just need to have CLB 5, that means around 4 or 5 bands in listening, reading, writing and speaking, which has slight variation in terms of IELTS and CELPIP CLB 5, which I will give you a chart after this, and you can view how the CLB score varies. So I have made a chart for you which will be helpful when you are giving the test. Like as I told you, for startup visa you just need CLB 5, either you give CELPIP or IELTS. So if you are giving an IELTS test and if you want to score CLB 5, that means you need to have in reading 4 bands, in writing 5, in listening 5 and in speaking 5. Moving to the CELPIP scores. So CELPIP, it's same for all the module. That means if you need CLB 5, you need to have 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. So this will be helpful for you even if you want to give test for any other like Express Entry, or maybe for any work permits, or maybe skill-based test. But this is for sure that for startup visa you need CLB 5. So coming to the last part of the video, that is what would be my preference if I have to give. I'll talk about IELTS, CELPIP and even PT in consideration. So if I would have been you, I would definitely prefer CELPIP because I'm inside Canada, so I know how Canadians speak and what would be their expectations from me when I give the exam. Second important thing is definitely I'm scared of the examiner, so I wouldn't give any speaking test in front of the examiner. Rather, I would prefer a computer who is there to examine me, and I don't have a human to make me scared. Um, Also, the cost factor, if I save something, why not? So I would prefer self-pip here. Yeah, but one thing more which gives me an extra preferences towards self-pip is I gave both the test, IELTS and self-pip, frankly. So when I gave the IELTS listening test, I have to do multitasking. When I say multitasking, I mean to say I have to listen the complete four modules of it in the listening, and then I'm to parallelly write down the answers. I was getting confused, like I was missing a lot of things in that. But in self-pip, it's not that. Self-pip, it's like you have to listen first, and then you write it, then listen, then write it. So it makes me easier to grasp it in my mind and then write it. So if you are a person who can multitask, probably you should choose IELTS, or you can choose self-pip like what I did for myself. So this is exactly what I would do. But coming to the third preference, that is PT. Yes, if given me an opportunity, I would definitely consider PT too, because PT has some extra points from my side, because the questions are quite small, and they are very they're just 20 questions. They don't have long answers to be written. So in that case, just 20 questions, 2 hours, and I'm a person who cannot sit for so long, so I would go for PT. And yes, I was just about to forget this, which I shouldn't have. I would like to tell you, if you are not good with grammar or spellings also, then you should not opt for IELTS, because IELTS mark you on singular, plural, on spellings and everything. But self-pip gives you an opportunity to autocorrect at times for the spelling. So these are the quick tips from my side, probably will be helpful for you. Thank you for joining and deep diving with the language requirement for Canadian PR and startup visa. We'll be coming up with more videos about how the startup visa culture works and what are the different things which need to be considered when you're filing for the application. But before we conclude, make sure to check the description below, the important links including official resources and designated language testing programs. Stay empowered and informed for the immigration journey. Thank you so much for being there with me today, and you are quite motivating, and I'm really thankful to you that you have watched my video till last. Thank